So mind, the greatest and the finest deceiver of the world. The mind, my friends, is one of the most created inventor that we have known. And the mind is also the master of games. Today we will look at something a little bit different. How the mind plays this game, and also how the mind creates a you and creates a universe which is completely separate. We always think that we are in the world and we are in the universe. But through this disclosure and the talk, I will show you how actually that the mind is creating the universe and you are the universe, and you are not in the universe, but that you are the universe. So when we speak about the mind, let's first focus on few main things that we know. We are trained to think. The mind trains us to think that we are one person who is called me, myself, and I, and the world which is around us is outside of us. So when we create myself or me or I here, and then the world outside, this becomes two different aspects altogether, two different worlds. The outside world and the inner world which is within me. That's how we are trained to look at many things from childhood. And actually that's the way we have been focusing on thinking life after life, from one birth to the next, from one world to the next. We have been going through this samsara chakra in this same manner, thinking about me, myself as one person, and the outside world as a different aspect altogether. But is it so? I want you to take few minutes and then really look at what we call the world and what we call the world within us. Friends, if we take the 6 senses, everything is combined together and everything formulates into one aspect or one proportionate, one center point. If we take the eye and the sight, if we take the ear and the sound, the nose and the smell, the tongue and the taste, body and touch, mind and the thoughts. If we take these 6 senses, all the 5 senses are governed by this one nature which is called the mind and the thoughts. Now let's explore this a little bit further in detail. If we take the eye and the sight, sight connects us to the mind and the thought. You have a feeling that you are actually looking at something, that you have the sight of something. The knowingness of sight is because of the mind. The knowingness of sound is because of the mind. The knowingness of the smell is because of the mind. The knowingness of the taste is because of the mind. The knowingness of the touch is because of the mind, and the knowingness of the thought is also because of the mind. So if we combine all the 5 aspects of the senses and take the mind and the thought, everything combines together at a one center point. And through this center point, it gets divided into so many different aspects. Without the sight, the sound, the smell, the taste, and the touch, the mind cannot give us information. And vice versa, it's because of the mind that we know things and that we feel things and that we absorb things. And we think that the outside world is different and the inside world, which is within us, is a complete different thing. But is it so? Is it really, really so? I want you to do this exercise with me. Open your eyes and look at the fire which is just close to me. Just look at the fire. Now focus on yourself, which you called me, myself, and I. You will have a sense of your body. You will have a sense of your hands, your legs, your body, your eyes, a part of your nose maybe, cheeks that you could see very slightly. And this you call you, yourself. Now for a moment, just for a moment, completely start focusing on the fire, which is just here. Just completely, don't focus on me, just focus on this fire. For a moment, let go of yourself. Let go of your body. Let go of your eyes and just concentrate only on the fire. If you just concentrate on the fire, you will see that through the sight, you become the sight and become the fire. When you totally let go of yourself, of your body, if you only concentrate on the fire, you will only see the fire. Your sight becomes not your sight, but it becomes the fire. Likewise, you could do this with sound as well. If you just focus for a moment on the sound, think about yourself first and let go of yourself completely and just concentrate on one sound or even my voice through your ears, but forget about your ears for a moment and just concentrate only on the sound. If you concentrate purely on the sound, you will know how the sound becomes you. In the same manner, the taste. If you're eating something, if you're tasting something, forget about yourself for a moment. Forget about the food that you're eating. Just take it into the mouth and just for a moment, close your eyes and see where you sense the taste. You will find that you are becoming the taste. In this manner, I'm seated very close to the fire, so I can actually sense the heat around me. And if I for a moment close my eyes and forget about myself and only concentrate on what I'm feeling with this touch, with this feel, I feel the warmth of the fire. And that warmth becomes me. In this same context, now if you close your eyes, just close your eyes for a second and start breathing gently. You will feel your breath, the intake of your breath, and how it gently leaves your body. But if you, for a second, leave your body aside and only concentrate on the intake of the breath, you will feel how the breath becomes you and you becomes the breath. Friends, take the time to understand that the sight is actually not outside of you. It's governed by your mind, the thought process of the mind. And through the thought process of the mind, the sight is actually you. Through the thought process of the mind, the sound is actually you. Through the thought process of the mind, the smell is actually you. And through the thought process of the mind, the taste is actually you. Through the thought process of this mind, the very same mind, the touch or the feel is actually you. And through the thought process of the mind, the thought is you, becomes you. So these 6 senses or the 5 senses are governed by one center point, which is the mind. And the mind keeps telling us that we, or there is a I here, and outside there is another world. I want you to take these two together and see the interconnection through the mind. The interconnection of the thought which becomes the fire every single second through the sight. The thought process generates an information saying that this fire is actually outside and I am actually here seated and giving this disclosure to you. But all around me is a oneness of the sight, of the sound, of the smell, of the touch, the taste, and governed by the thought. This thought creates the entire surrounding which is around, which you see at the moment. So from moment to moment, from another moment to the next moment, this entire thought process, my friends, is the center point that the mind makes the diversion of the world which is outside and the self which is another world inside. As long as these two are apart, there's always one who is getting attached to another part of the world. But if you could see the interconnection between these two, you will know that through you, within you, is the creation of oneself. If you are the creator for your own 6 senses, who is the creator to the world beyond? Who is the creator of the universe? This is a question that I want you to think about. Who creates the world? Who creates the six senses? Who senses the sight? Who senses the sound? Who senses the smell, taste, the touch, and the thought? It's you. You sense everything through the thought process, through the mind. This is the diversion, this is the game that the mind plays through the samsara, dragging us to attachment, dragging us to suffering, dragging us to pain, dragging us to hate, dragging us to lust, dragging us to the deceived thought process that we think that I need to have everything which is in the world. I need to have this sort of relationship, this sort of person, this sort of job, this sort of country to live in, this sort of neighborhood, this sort of world. But actually speaking, the entire process is created through and within a person. Through the six senses, you gain the information, and the creation of oneself leads to another creation of another self in a single moment. Within this single moment, we get so much of information that we are hooked onto the information rather than trying to understand how the information is generated. We think that the outside world generates the information, but it's actually within us which generates this information. So the universe lies within you. You are the universe and not beyond the universe. You are not in the universe, but you are the universe. And the attachment follows through the universe, through the six senses. The creation of the mind drags you to another creation of the mind. That feeds you to another creation of the mind, which feeds you to another creation of the mind. This is the entire process that we get so attached to, that we can't see beyond this understanding, this deep understanding. You can't see beyond it because you always separate the I and with the outside world. But this, you need to see the oneness through the universe which is created actually within yourself. So this vipassana is to be taken with the sight and how you become the fire, how you become the sound of the fire, how you become the smell of the fire, how you become the taste of the fire, how you become the feel of the fire, and how you become the thought of the fire. The universe is within you. Therwan Sar.